All right, everyone, welcome into episode 42 of the Hooley Brothers podcast, the Jackie Robinson edition here. Mike, it's been a minute. Last time we were on, we were with our boy Ray talking about coming off of the NBA Finals, which seems like a year ago at this point. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't even know where to begin here. We got an outline done this time, but I don't know where to begin.
I'm just gonna start with everyone just plays on a different team now.
That could be applicable to mostly MLB. I guess not NBA too. I mean, there are a lot of re-signs in the NBA, but still true. Like I
There's
said,
also a draft where like Kate Cunningham's no longer playing for Oklahoma State.
very true. I think that's almost where we're going to start here. But yeah, I mean, I think between I don't even think what happened. Just like events over 2 weekends ago. Then
And we kind of
last week.
we also focused in on just the finals that time. We missed the All-Star game. Like we didn't mention that AL won or the Alonso show too.
Wait, we didn't?
Yeah, because we went right into we just did.
Yeah. Jeez, I didn't even think about that on here. Well, quick recap that. Pete ends up putting on a great show. Great to see Trey Mancini. I'm doing this off the cuff right now. Great to see him put up a fight there in the All-Star game. Vladdy hit a home run.
Wagon.
One MVP. Xander Bogaerts, the only player in the game with 2 hits. So. No, Mike, we did this. I'm thinking we did this. Hold on. Calendar. 2 weeks ago was the week of the.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
We did this.
Yeah.
We're off to a hot start. I was like, I thought that was a week before. So yeah. All right. Cool. Well, I caught that. I didn't go too depth. Yeah. I was like, wait, I talked about Mancini. I talked about Xander getting 2 hits. All that good stuff. Yeah, we ranked their performances, I think, from worst to best. The Red Sox. Anyway, back on track here. So yeah, like I said, sucks things happened this way. Just again, different events popping up. The weekend, I had a fundraiser Wednesday, which is our usual weekday night. Then we were in Virginia Beach in North Carolina visiting the fam over the weekend, which is a ton of fun. So now we just have a lot to talk about. And Mike, I think we were joking. It's like, even though we have so much to talk about, it's lucky going to go to the quickest ones because we're just going to fire through because it's a lot of, signings, trades, draft, all that stuff. So we'll see. This could be a quick one, could be standard, could be long. I have no idea how long this is going to go.
Dare I say it might be lunacy?
Lunacy, shout out Virginia Beach. Good time with good time we had out. I was several orange crushes deep that night. Fantastic drink out there. Fun to go out with our cousin James and just being out the whole family in general. So yeah, great reference there. I got it, Mike. Was lunacy, but all right. So yeah, hopping back in. I guess we'll start with kind of where I think all this madness really began. I think we saw that the writing was on the wall for things to be crazy. I think if we could have somehow gotten one in mid last week at some point, I guess not even mid last week, it would have had to have been Wednesday or Thursday. I obviously had that big Wednesday. We were at home on Thursday. Could have maybe done it, but I mean, it was a lot going on. And I like just watching the draft. But I guess we'll start there. So obviously, yeah, Cade goes number 1. Fun spoiler, Woj was kind of lead 2 and 3, so that was going to go Jalen Green going to the Rockets, and then Evan Mobley going to USC. Then I thought the Steelers drafting was only one position too late, was getting Jalen Suggs to the Magic. I thought that was a great pick by them. I almost argued, I think my hot take at the beginning of this is that Jalen Suggs is going to be the best player out of this draft. Might be a little hot, but I'm still going to just ride with it. I think it's a pick of the draft. Obviously, Cade was obvious number 1. Based on all of the accolades and everything, all the draft experts were saying, but I think Suggs was a fantastic pick there. And then obviously I'm ready blank because I think I was so focused on that. Who was it that went for again?
It was Scotty Barnes out of Florida State, which I do like that pickup. I mean, I know to it, like I guess you might have thought with Lowry most likely departing at that time, you might want to go point guard, but I guess maybe if you just trust Freddie to run the offense, might want to get another wing. And Scotty Barnes is a great guy. I mean, the 6th man of Florida State seems to be like the hottest commodity after Patrick Williams last year and now Scotty Barnes. So
it's so weird. Leonard Hamilton, like mad scientist down there, like not starting as highest. The birth is gonna be the highest draft pick there. So yeah, I guess, and then kind of going after that. I know, what was it good day 6?
Yeah, good day to the Thunder.
Yeah, just good day. Yes, exactly. And then I'm trying to bring up the order now.
It was
Just gonna
Kuminga.
get a quick rundown. I mean,
Kuminga was 7, right?
Yeah, Kuminga to the Warriors. Yes. Kuminga was 7.
And then quickly
then
after
the
being
Magic, all the goodwill that they did on. What did you say?
I was gonna say, and then your winner of the draft became not the winner of the draft very soon.
Yeah, in about, how does that make it? 3 picks, and 3 picks later they go Franz Wagner. I don't know. Like I said, I think we saw him in a lot of big moments at Michigan, just kind of, screw the pooch there. 8 seemed high for him. I don't know. I mean, I'm not again a draft expert, but
especially with
out there, Davion Mitchell going 9 to the Kings.
I was saying, especially with Davion, who put up way better of a show in the NCAA tournament, going to pick
yeah.
up. The Kings like their point guards,
right? I mean, then maybe. I mean, yeah. Sorry, my internet sucks. So if Mike and I are talking over each other at any point, that's what's to blame. Yeah, again, so I don't know if the Magic would have gone Davion there after just going with Suggs. I know you kind of do a best player available, but 2 point guards there. But I mean, I don't know, because then also it was like you said, Davion goes to the Kings. We'll see how that works with De'Aaron. And then Zaire Williams wraps up the top 10. But how about James Bouknight falling all the way to 11? I think that's something that would have been great for the Magic as well.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the Hornets, I kind of really like what they did, because I'm pretty sure, at 19 they were able to trade back into the first round and get Kai Jones, the big man out of Texas, too. So I don't know. So I'm pretty much a fan of what they did at 11 and 19, and then of course I know I mentioned Kuminga going at 7, but how about them also scooping up Moody Moses at the end of the
Moody Moses, yeah. No, I was just about to say that. I think the Warriors did a great job.
Actually, his name's actually Moses Moody. I think I just confused you.
14. Oh no, we were saying no. I was doing it wrong on purpose.
Okay, yeah.
I was just like doubling down on it. Yeah, no, I know his name's Moses Moody.
No,
yeah,
no.
The thing you can call me out on is mixing up Alabama and Arkansas players, because that I did do.
Yeah, with Primo and what's his face? Why am I blanking on him? Why am I Herb Jones? Yeah.
It was Herb Jones and Moses Moody. That's what I was confused.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think the most head scratching decision was the Rockets trading two first rounders for the old Celtics pick and taking that Alpern dude from Turkey.
Traded up to get him, right, or something? Yeah. Like you said, traded those 2. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was weird. Right in the middle there between those 2, heartthrob Corey Kispert getting drafted by the Wizards.
Yeah.
Also a good one up there. And then, yeah, obviously a great moment for the NBA. Right before, I can't remember if it was probably right before Kispert.
It was right, yeah, in the lottery.
Drafting Charles Clark into the league, yeah. Obviously a tragic situation that happened there. Losing his life so young at the age of 19. So would have been drafted on this night by a team, headed up in for that tragic accident. So obviously, nice moment having his family there and seeing him get drafted kind of as a, one last hurrah for the basketball career there. But yeah, again, just kind of, a lot of familiar names, going throughout the rest of the draft. I don't know if there's really a lot that stand out to you.
Yeah.
Preston, love seeing him get drafted.
Yeah. I mean, Quentin Grimes to the Knicks, that's a good pickup. And then staying in New York, how did the Nets get Cam Thomas? That's just way more scoring that they don't need.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's almost like it's really he's someone who might have benefited. I mean, he'll be great on a great team, but it's like I almost wonder if he had a team put a bit more opportunity if he'd kind of light it up, maybe be one of these like Malcolm Brogdon type people that come out of nowhere within a year or something. But just Brooklyn,
yeah, and just good to see like going through the second round, like guys like Herb Jones, Miles McBride that he liked watching college basketball, Heck, even Dosunmu staying in Illinois, going to the Bulls, and then even
Staying
shocking.
home, Jared Butler.
Yeah, looks like he's going to Utah because it was a Pelicans pick from Chicago, right? Traded to Utah via Memphis. So like, there's 4 teams there.
Yeah.
Livers, of course, after having missed the
Zagorowski also go to the Nets. Luka Garza.
Yeah, I think the lowest
We're yelling names out right now.
What's it on Neesmith winner to win? I don't know. I feel like he might fit in Detroit, like the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then even
him and Olynyk just seem like complete opposites of each other.
Yeah, Raquan Gray, Jericho Sims. Yeah, the Knicks are also getting Jericho Sims at the end. That's a lot of potential. I mean, you saw the video of him like banging his chin on the rim. So, yeah, I mean, I just was really into college basketball this year. So it's like I feel like this might be like one of the drafts that like if you look back at like the 09 draft, be like, oh yeah, I remember watching that guy in college. Or like in years past, so I've kind of really fell off of college, being like, oh yeah, I don't really know much about that college guy, but when like I said, like Zagorowski, Sharif Cooper being in Boston, that's just like Mamu 54. It's like just guys you know. So I was actually stayed up the entire time, which was good.
How about and then Celtics come away with I think we all saw this coming. The Euro stash, Johan Begarin. So that's all that came away with that night, which is fine. Last thing we need is more people on this roster that aren't really going to contribute right away. But yeah, so yeah, we saw like you said, a lot of familiar faces. I think especially in round 2, maybe more than I'm used to. So, but yeah, so that's kind of always a good event. Always love watching the NBA draft and NFL draft and all that. So again, hopefully we get back on schedule. I think a lot of people forgot it was happening until like the last minute because it was late July instead of like mid to late June. So again, a bit different there. But also the big news of that night, which I think is going to flow into the other half or other portion of what happened in the NBA, is the thing that kicked everything off was the Russell Westbrook trade. So there was rumors. I remember I'm taking the train to go get my haircut, then obviously meet you guys in Malden, and catching them on Twitter. I'm seeing rumors with the Kings putting in together a deal with Buddy Hield and getting a Kuzma type package back. Then like 15 minutes later, the Russ news pretty much breaks. Like that's where that whole entire package of Kuzma, KCP, Harrell all going to DC, Russ coming home to LA and forming this new big three with Bron and AD. And that's kind of, and we'll get to the Lakers in just a sec here because they signed everyone in the world. But that's kind of the first domino that fell as far as the, I won't call it free agency because it was a trade, but kind of, leading into free agency, kind of the big news of that night outside the draft.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess with some of the moves they made after, you can kind of see what they're going for, but I kind of like the first rumor package with Hield better just because I feel like LeBron is a point guard and would run more of the offense. Doesn't really need the ball in his hand. Well, it needs the ball in his hand. Where I feel like in Westbrook, there's only one ball. Which again, maybe ironic to say, but like when the same package could use Buddy Hield, who's a sharpshooter, which really seemed to thrive, like we've seen, like Corver, Mike Miller, James Jones, all thrive in LeBron led system. So I feel like Buddy Hield would have been a good fit there. But hey, I mean, it might take some growing, but I feel like with that much talent, they'll just make it work.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, okay, but at the end of the day, maybe not this, this year, our Lord 2021, maybe Buddy Hield might have, but it's like at the end of the day, Westbrook overall has been a better player in his career, and a lot of times talent does just win out. So obviously, again, a huge boost to a Lakers team that had a bit of a down year, but mainly due to injury. So I don't know, they seem destined for, kind of destined for the final now. Okay, no, we'll get into the whole Lakers roster in a second. But yeah, that's kind of the big news to fall. Big night on DC to LA trades. We'll get to the other half of that, kind of the back half here. But yeah, so that obviously set the dominoes off. We have, like I said, the Lakers kind of got their third big piece. And then free agency started. Again, I know we were getting back on Was it on Monday that I started? I can't even. My days are all getting run together.
Yeah, it was
Got
Monday at
back early in
6.
the morning. I took a couple naps in the afternoon. Yeah, we didn't get much sleep on Sunday night going into Monday with the early flight. But yeah, so that kind of kicked everything off. And that's where we're going to start. We usually start pretty, getting Celtic centric, and we'll get to them in a sec here between free agency and the trades beforehand. But just kind of leading from the Russ trade here, Lakers have signed everybody, right? Like they have everybody on their team.
Yeah. So like Bazemore, Monk. I'm just saying at guards. Those are 2. Mello, Dwight Howard.
Taylor Horton Tucker re-signed.
Yeah. They lost the Caruso. So who else is going there? Like, Trevor Ariza. It's ridiculous. It's just like how many people.
Okay, a couple things. One, where's KCP right now? Is he like on the team or?
Yeah, I think he was in the trade. He was in the trade.
Did I just say that to myself? I'm an idiot. Yeah, he was. I was like, I think it's because Taylor wasn't included, and I was thinking there was a guard that like wasn't like one of the big pieces wasn't included. Okay, yes, yeah, KCP to the Wizards. Then okay, can I just ask one thing? How come like the Celtics signed like 2 deals and then we're just like we can't do anything. We're strapped for money. And then the Lakers are like, oh, we are paying 3 guys $150 million, and we can just keep signing people. Like it's not even all vet minimums. Like it just seems like kind of nuts that they're still able to add on all these pieces. I don't get the cap. It really bothers me. And it feels like the Celtics are true victims of it. Maybe it's because I'm stupid, but I don't know. That's something I've never understood.
Yeah, I'm on your side there, but again, I think it's just more of us being a little, just not knowing the cap as well. I also got Wayne Ellington.
Like I know
they still have Marc Gasol.
Like I know they can obviously go over for. Like I know they can still go. They can go. Oh, Dwight Howard. Did you already say?
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut out for a sec.
Yes, like the 10-man rotation they have listed on ESPN is Westbrook, Ellington, James, Anthony Davis, Bazemore, Monk, Ariza, Howard, Gasol.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. It's like I said, yeah, it's not like I said. They can go over for Horton Tucker and guys like that. They're keeping him with the bird rights, but I'm just like, how like these other guys is like I don't think they're all signing for like $800,000. Like they're getting like decent deals, and I guess I just don't understand.
One thing that's been kind of annoying me was like, signing an Ariza and Howard, just like they did in 2011. It's like, Howard was there 2 years ago and he won a literal title. Like,
yeah, it's just third stint there.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts. But then it's just like I feel like the Celtics. It's like, okay, we have now Horford's contract instead of Kemba's. The Jays, Marcus Smart, and it's like if we sign one person, we're like screwed for 2022. Like I don't. How does that make sense?
We don't know how to stretch and weave.
It's not under the apron. But anyway. So why don't we go to the Celtics before we kind of run through the other signings in the league here? The Josh Richardson seems to be the big piece coming in along with Chris Dunn and kind of a few, I think, separate trades that were going on here. Tristan Thompson and the newly acquired Moses Brown, who I think we were a little bit excited to watch. Finds his way out here, or find both their ways out here. So I don't know, weird because again, Chris Dunn's been kind of a fail at the NBA level at least, and I don't know, some roster kind of in flux here with that.
I'd say with Dunn, I know I do have a little Providence bias here, but his defense has been like close to being like maybe like second team all defense, like at least as of like one of the last 3 or 4 years. But but granted, this team made the conference finals, but he was kind of at the very end of that rotation. But hey, I guess that's our peak too, and losing the conference finals. So I don't know. I guess just give him a shot, and couldn't be worse than the Jeff Teague experience. Maybe that's NBA champion Jeff Teague.
NBA champion Jeff Teague.
Yeah.
But this delay is killing me. Yeah. Anyway, Sammy's gone. So okay, bye. I liked Semi. I mean, at least is a hard worker and everything.
Never forget that one
wait
time
to the defending champs.
Never forget that time him and Pritchard led the team in scoring on that random Thursday game in Toronto.
Yep, I remember he was. I think at one point that was the trivia question. I'm like, only one person outside the big threes led the team in scoring this year. It was Semi usually. Cantor's back, so he just keeps ping ponging the last few years between Boston and Portland. So that's fun.
People hate him, huh?
And then I don't know. What did you say?
People hate him, huh?
Do they really? Just like as a player? Or as a
I've seen a lot of Celtics fans being like, I get it when we have to, like, all we can do is sign like a backup big, but why did we sign that backup big? Like stuff like that.
I just can't even. I don't know. I don't even know what to think of anything anymore with this. Like, I feel like we're just waiting for next year. So we just got to fill the roster, I guess, with people that we can. IT rumors. I keep hearing different things about whether they're real or not. I still love it because, again, why not? Like, he's not going to ask for a lot of money, I don't think. Just see how he does in the 6-man role and I don't know, go from there. But I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens on that.
Yeah, that's a lot of just wait on Brad. I almost said Danny, but wait on Brad.
Yep. All right. So do we just like run through the gauntlet now of all these different signings that happen? Actually, why don't I
think that's the way to do it.
All right. I'm going to switch the order here that we have in our outline because there's some that I think are a good transition from the Celtics. We're going to have a few old friends in New York next year. The first thing that happened is Evan Fournier reached an agreement with them. Again, it just seems like a lot of money. It's just weird because if we can do something next year, I think this was the right move. But if we were ever like screwed and we had the bird rights, should we have done it? Maybe. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm not heartbroken about it, but I'm just like, okay, well, now what? That's like where I sit with that situation.
Yeah, that's putting a lot of pressure on throwing up a Hail Mary to have someone to sign next year, whether it's Beal or like trading for Beal and be able to afford him without giving out one of the Jays. So that's kind of just our Hail Mary attempt right now. Like,
I'm fine with it, but
yeah, I can't believe some of the stuff. It just like Gordon Hayward was Gordon Hayward, Daniel Tice, like a first round pick, and like 4 seconds turned into Josh Richardson
and Chris Dunn, I think.
I don't know. I think just
I thought it was more
because that was technically in the Thompson trade. So
right, or I think I saw something. It was like they traded Cantor to make room for Tristan Thompson, then got rid of Tristan Thompson just to re-sign Cantor. But yeah, then the other news there, Kemba bought out by the Thunder, and he's going to sign a deal with the Knicks. The buyout's also something I don't fully understand. Like I was trying to explain it to Caitlin today. I'm like, I don't really get it. I think they just pay most of their money and then they end the contract or something. I don't know. But
yeah, I'm shocked. So I feel like he was gonna try to wait, like let him play half a year, and then I don't know, maybe
get some value.
Presti loves his first, so I'm surprised he didn't.
Right.
I think he just did him a favor.
Yeah. So he again another coming home. He's going to play for again. Obviously, he's had a lot of great moments in the Garden as a UConn player, the Big East, and now he'll head back to the Knicks there to join Fournier, and we'll see how the Knicks do on that front. Okay, yeah. Now we can go back up top. I think one of the first big names to change hands in free agency here was Kyle Lowry. There were all the rumors of him leaving Toronto. And so he signs a big deal with the Heat. I think that's a great fit. Honestly, I do like him there with Butler. Then also Oladipo re-signed there too. So you're getting a decent squad there. A team obviously that made the finals just a year ago. And then also adding. Actually, they signed a big deal with Duncan Robinson too to stick around. So that's another shooter on the perimeter. Then also adding the ultimate dog in PJ Tucker from his great parade performance there. So Heat low-key coming along after all that.
Yeah, I know. They have a pretty good rotation now. Like that's a pretty good starting five, especially you got to win soon with that Butler contract because he's getting paid a decent amount of money in a couple years.
Yeah, for sure. Bulls are back, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So the first big news was the Lonzo deal, to kind of maybe pair him with Zach LaVine, and then yesterday, all these rumors I think early on were DeMar going to Lakers, but obviously they signed a million other people instead. I saw some Clippers rumors in there. It just seemed like he definitely wasn't going to stay in San Antonio, and ends up working that sign and trade and finds his way up to Chicago. So also on there too, that's something else. So you got them two. Sorry, so you got Lonzo and DeRozan being added on with LaVine. You got Boost the bitch on their perk shout out there in that starting lineup, and again they're coming on too. You got Caruso off the bench now after that signing for the Lakers. So Bulls are coming into form too.
I got something there with marketing.
Yeah,
Kobe White.
Because whether you go him or right, Cody White off the bench too. You got Patrick Williams too. Like again, obviously last year's top pick. So yeah, the Bulls got a good little roster there. I would be shocked if they're not in some sort of playoff this year, whether it's the tournament or the top six there. So
I mean, I think they might be a better team than the Celtics.
I think they definitely are.
So
again, from what I saw last year, as injury play and not all-star Kemba Walker as he was, like, okay, you got rid of him. There's really no replacement on that front. You're, I guess, swapping out Fournier for Josh Richardson. You're gonna see what you have in Chris Dunn. It's just I don't see how we got any better this year. I think we might have even got worse. So yeah, I definitely think the Bulls are better. I was gonna say I think the Celtics might be we might see more playing Tatum this year.
At best.
I think that's where they'll end up.
At best.
And then there's a lot of garbage. There's a lot of garbage in the East. Like the Wizards have given up.
No, you saw ESPN tweet out.
The Pistons are rebuilding.
Did you see ESPN tweet out? They have a big three: Beal, Dinwiddie, and Kuzma.
Dinwiddie. Oh right, yeah. Sorry. Okay, they're better than that team. They're better than the Pistons. They're better than I still think they're better than the Magic. Magic, they're building something there. They're better than the Hornets. That's already 4 teams there. I just think they're better than the Pacers.
I'll give you the Pacers.
I think so.
I give you the Pacers more than the Hornets. Might be closer than you think. I still say Celtics.
I still think they're a year away.
I still give them the Celtics, but Hornets are closer than you think. Especially like getting book night. And
we'll get to some other. Yeah.
I don't know. I just.
Yeah.
I can't believe. I can't believe what's happened the last couple of years here. So.
No, like you said, I think they're in full send for somehow getting Bradley Beal without giving up Brown. Which, I mean, again, if that can work, I think that's fantastic. But I just don't see how it's done now, unless specifically like I want you to trade me to Boston.
Unless Ime and Tatum are doing their magic right now over in Japan.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Get some tampering in there. We'll take the fine. No big deal. And yeah, I think that's the only way that happens, because then we could be like, all right, here's Al Horford's contract to make the money work. Here's Smart. Any pick you want, anyone else in the roster, they're yours. So yeah, if that can work, fine. I'm all for it. But yeah. Kind of sticking in the East, and then we have a few different things on here, Mike. But just kind of want to quickly run through. You mentioned Dinwiddie going to the Wiz to form that new big three. Trey signed he got paid big time to stay with the Hawks. They're keeping their young core following the Eastern Conference Finals run, because they also re-signed John Collins. So there were rumors of being traded, going elsewhere. I never quite understood it, why they would. Again, you have this young core, so I'm glad they paid Collins. I think it just makes sense for both sides there. Then we also have the Nets. They signed our guy Blake back. Also signing Patty Mills. So again, I think they already have a good team. What did you say?
So I wanted him.
Yeah, I know, me too. Again, I don't know the whole money situation now. But yeah, again, another thing I was going to say here. See, obviously the Nets are already a pretty good. They're already a stacked team as it is. So I think even if they didn't make as many moves as the Lakers, I still don't think that's like that they fell way behind because again they already have a big three, and then now you add Mills to Griffin and Joe Harris and all that. So they'll be in a good spot there. And then also, Mike, we talked about this a little bit before. I still think the Celtics are better than this team, but they're on the rise. Is the Cavs? You know what I mean? I think re-signing Jared Allen, who's somehow only 23, which is insane. You got the Sexland backcourt. You just drafted Evan Mobley there. It's a nice young core. I think if they can, not screw everything up, you could potentially have a pretty decent lineup in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and even also on the wing, Okoro didn't have that bad of a rookie year.
That's true. Okoro, the pick from last year. True. Yeah. So that's that's a solid lineup right there. Absolutely. So I think a good one. And then kind of as we kind of move out to the West here, I know you mentioned too, the Norm Powell and Gary Trent trade. They both stuck where they were following the trade. So that works out there. A couple old heads getting paid out west. CP3, I didn't have a problem with the AAV. It's the 4 years. Remember when his contract was untradeable, like what, 3 years ago? And now he got another huge one here.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for the Suns. Like you got to do it.
I guess is it because what was it? What did it be? 4-120?
Mm-hmm. Like I would rather pay like 275 or something like that, but he wanted to do it. He probably wanted 4 years of 120.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works out. Obviously, he's 36 going 37 here, so that's probably going to take him towards the end of his career here. And then Steph signs the biggest AAV deal ever. What was it, 4-2-15 or something crazy like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so him obviously staying out in the Bay. As much as again I got kind of played by those Warriors teams, it's going to be nice to see him and Clay back together finally. After such a long layoff between those two.
Yeah. Between them two,
Wiggins.
Them two, Wiggins, and then you got 3 young guys with Wiseman, Moody, and Kuminga. So, and then my favorite player, Juan Toscano Anderson.
Yeah. Oh yeah, great story there. So yeah, I mean, kind of just running through the rest of the list here. Conley back to Utah. I saw they added Rudy Gay to the team there, and then I see here Mike the old Celtics Whites got paid between Olynyk and Daniel Tice. Olynyk to Detroit, Tice to Houston, and then the 2 big names out there, unless I've missed something in the last few hours, are still Reggie Jackson and Dennis Schroeder. So a couple of LA point guards from a year ago still find themselves out in the market right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen shit on that. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that Reggie, I don't think people are giving him a hard time. I think everyone was like, oh, he's going to make bank. Maybe not quite as much as we thought after that run. I still think he'll end up in a good spot. I think the funnier thing is, didn't Schroeder turn down a ton of money? And now here he is.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wouldn't be shocked if Jackson ends up doing like, okay, give me as much money as 1 year deal, as much money as possible, and run it back. Oh, I meant
here.
I meant I meant with the Clippers being like, okay.
Oh, the Clippers.
Like, pay me as much as you can, like 1 more year, and then we can figure this out next year.
Yeah, still, I'd love Reggie on a 1 year deal, just so wouldn't screw anything up from next year. But that's my dream. But yeah, you're right. He could just end up back at the Clippers. That seems like as more time goes on, that seems like the most likely scenario. But all right. Other notes. I think we kind of covered it all on that front as far as the free agency goes. I mean, there's been a million things that have happened. Like I said, we've been gone for so long. So I'm sure we missed something crazy. What was that trade last week? The Valanciunas and Adams.
Yeah, I think Zion's already packing his bags. David Griffin, David Griffin, man, like people were saying like, oh, like he fleeced the Lakers because they everyone knew Anthony Davis wanted to be gone, and they got Lonzo, they got Ingram, they got whatever. Like for Lonzo, they got
Josh Hart.
like I don't know where Josh Hart is. Like for like what like they use like the pick and like, they haven't really gotten a lot of that pick. I think it was like Jackson Hayes and Nikhil Alexander Walker. Jackson Hayes is like arrested right now. What else? Yeah, and then they got, of course they decided to trade with Lonzo, but they got like Satoransky back and like I gotta remember this. Who he play for? Garrett Temple, Pelicans. You gotta remember this.
Who he played? Okay. Oh, for next year. All right. Well, unless anything else happens, he's always on that. He's always on who he played for. Who's another one? He's on
there. Yeah, and so regardless now, their big money move is like Garrett Temple. So luckily they got off of Steven Adams, but they replaced it with Valanciunas. So it's like Valanciunas, Devontae Graham, Zion, Ingram. Like, is that really something that's gonna want to make Zion stay?
Like, you're forgetting that Zatoransky single-handedly knocked out the Canadian national team. So put some respect on his name.
Yeah, he's not playing basketball anymore for his country.
Yeah. But yeah, so then the only other thing I had today was like I think there were a lot of those rumors about Bradley Beal. Like I said, those trade rumors that kind of surfaced, and there was some social media activity between both him and his wife, and then the report came out that he did request the trade. So I'm jumping one way that he can end up here, partner up with the Jays. Hopefully again, this is get him without giving up Brown. Which I don't feel the Wizards like. Nah, he's still very young. He still want him. But anyway, so we'll see what happens on that front. I think that's, like you said, the Celtics kind of big hope right now is that Beal can somehow get here without giving up to keep the Jays intact. But all right, that's quite the gauntlet for the NBA talk, which I think would have been its own craziness to recap after such a long period of time. But there's another league with a lot of factor in this time, Mike, and that's the MLB. Trade deadline just passed on Friday. I know we were again, I think having some of our first one crushes at one of the bars on there. Had our eye on the TV there as we were approaching 4:00. But obviously some trades happening, well before that, and kind of right into that already.
Yeah, days coming in on the plane ride down, but definitely got cooking right at the end. I think especially we left at like 4:00, and then you look at your phone and you're down at the beach, and there's like 3 or 4 more that came in. So,
yeah, absolutely. So again, kind of going through the gauntlet here. I guess it's we'll kind of go back and forth there. I guess I just want to start with the Sox here. The big move was adding Kyle Schwarber. The only question is where he's going to play. I know first base kind of a gaping hole now. He hasn't really played much of there since I think ever, or like the minor leagues, or like a long time ago. So I think that's the plan for him once he gets off the IL. Also, Hansel Robles in, and the ice horse Chavis on his way out here. I know you just put a question mark there, Mike. Is that not happening?
It did. That was just like, I don't know. I put a question mark. I think maybe I did that to signal those were 2 separate deals. We got Robles from Minnesota, and then we sent Chavis for Davis to Pittsburgh. But back to Schwarber, I do think that it might be because of like Duran's had some moments, but he's still like in the grand scheme of things, he's still hitting like $190, and he did hit his second home run tonight, but he's only had like now 2 dingers. So maybe some insurance for another left-handed power bat in the outfield at the very worst. If it would be nice if he can try out first base, because again, there's another hole there with like kind of relying a lot on Bobby Dahlback or Franchi right now. So yeah, I guess you can say a little bit. I was gonna say, I guess you can say a little disappointed because of all the other movement we're gonna get to in a second. But I just think the Red Sox were like, okay, our deadline acquisitions are getting healthy in like the infield with Marwin Gonzalez and Christian Arroyo coming back, and then of course on the pitching staff with the return of Chris Sale and sneaky. I think Ryan Brazier, if you remember him, I think he's coming back from a TJ as well. So.
Yeah, I was in the car listening to the Sox game last night. They brought up his name. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about him. We still have him. So yeah, I mean, I think you could do a few things here. Like you said, try the first base thing, or else think we were talking before too. Like, yeah, if you want to have maybe Durant more as a, if you keep him on the playoff roster, more of a speed guy off the bench, play that who's oh my god, a Royce Clayton type role off the bench. Who was that? Like a Quentin Berry. Like
Quentin Berry is the one I thought of.
Because then you could always go with an out. Yeah, I think because he was 13, and I want to say I think Royce Clayton was up 7. I could be wrong though. I thought we had him one year as like a speed guy, but yeah, because then you could do an outfield maybe. I don't know who it would be defensively, but it'd be pretty bad defensively. But you go Schwarber, Verdugo center, and Renfroe right. Like I don't know if that's your starting outfield, or if you do try to put him more in that first base role. So and have Kike play second. So yeah, there's options there with guys that are versatile like Kike and like you mentioned before, Marvin Gonzalez that kind of move around a bit. But yeah, also again the delay doesn't help this too. But I was making the joke when I was like Robles in, Chavis out. I'm Ron Burgundy.
No,
just reading whatever's on the prompter for me. But yeah. Okay, I'm gonna might jump around a little bit here, Mike. Just because I want to hit on I think the biggest couple of the big trades first.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was kind of just
okay, cool.
I was trying to lump up divisions. Like that was my thing. I was trying to like lump up divisions with one another.
It's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that. But yeah, why don't we talk about we'll kind of start with that. I think the first thing that kind of happened earlier on, decently before the trade deadline was Nelson Cruz going to the Rays. And I agree, Mike, you wrote they make no sense. I agree. I don't really get how this roster keeps. There's sometimes like, oh, you might have a good year, then like come back down to it, then have a good year. It's like, no, they're just consistently really, really good now, and I don't quite get it. So Cruz goes to the Rays, adds a power bat to that lineup. So you said they make no sense, and I also noticed that you said so do the Mariners, and I'll kind of let you take that piece there.
Okay, so on top of like acquiring Nelson Cruz, they were also sellers. They signed Rich Hill at the beginning of the year, shipped him off to the Mets, and then they sent Diego Castillo. Remember him? He's kind of like the big closer. They traded him to Seattle, and this makes even less sense.
Okay,
because the week before, the Seattle Mariners just finished sweeping the Oakland A's, got themselves back in the wild card hunt, hosted the Houston Astros, went down 8 runs early, came back against them to win the game, riding high. And then that night, the GM traded their closer, Kendall Graveman, to Houston, the team they just came back and beat. So, and that just like pissed off the entire team. Then 2 days later, they're acquiring Diego Castillo, like out of nowhere. Is that just kind of like a pity move? And then, well, why is like Tampa Bay trading this? So, like, all that closer movement just did not make sense to me between those 3 teams.
Yeah, usually team goes one way or the other for the most part. And yeah, definitely a little mind blowing there. And then going back to Thursday night, NBA draft happening, Russell Westbrook trade. That's when the news breaks. I mean, we got the Schwarber news that night, but also the big news with another Washington LA trade. And not only did the Dodgers get Scherzer, which again I kind of get it for the Nats, but Trey Turner going the other way as well, who's again a lot younger. Wondering why you give up on him so early if you're the Nats. But both those guys making their way to the defending champion Dodgers, who just like again seem like they're primed for another deep run here.
Yeah, especially with the team control coming out of that. But maybe it's on the market for Scherzer wasn't as big, but they're like, hey, like maybe Turner might be a free agent in like a year or two. And they're like, hey, like if you throw in Turner, we'll give you like everything. Because they got a pretty good haul off this. They got Gilbert Ruiz and Josiah Gray, the 2 top prospects in the system. I know Josiah Gray's kind of gone back and forth this year due to the injuries and domestic abuse going across their pitching staff right now. So he's been able to get a couple spot starts, but like of guys that are like have made the leagues, you know, like they've had some prospects come up recently in the last couple of years with like Will Smith and Rios, Gavin Lux. So like those are the top 2 guys that have made like a decent MLB impact. So a decent haul for the Nats, and hopefully just like think like, okay, we gotta throw away the window of that national
reset.
The 2019 World Series. But hey, we still got Juan Soto, who's still very young. So if we can get some guys that are like almost MLB ready prospects to kind of step in a couple years, I can maybe see what they're doing there.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that was again kind of a big trade that night. so the Nationals, we talked about them kind of between that trade and Schwarber kind of having a sale, and kind of thinking of quite at a fire sale like the Cubs trading three of their core guys from the 2016 championship team. Anthony Rizzo goes to the Yankees, who add another power bat after adding Gallo earlier in the week. Javi Baez getting traded to the Mets, and Chris Bryant going out to the Bay to the Giants. And again, thoughts and prayers to our guy Big Cat, not only for that happening, but all three of them Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, hitting home runs with their new teams in their first game.
Yeah, down bad, especially with all the nicknames like Chris Giant.
It works. It works, man.
Yeah, I mean, I love that from the Giants. Like they've definitely been the surprise team of the year, and like you got to thank Evan Longoria for getting hurt, for giving them the balls to make this move, and then flipping over to the Mets. That is one sexy middle of the infield of Baez and Lindor. Mm-hmm. And then
like you said, defensive side.
And then across the city, like you gotta give the Yankees credit. Like those are two big bats, and I think if you look at the prospect all for both those trades, they didn't give up too much in that. So, they're now like they definitely had a hole with like Brett Gardner having to survive every day in the outfield, with especially Hicks being out, and then first base. Like it's been a tough year for Lou Floyd. They've had like Chris Giddens playing first base all day. So now, like you look at that lineup, it doesn't definitely help that it's right after them getting back from COVID. But it's an extremely different team that was just in Boston a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Yankees are scary now. The Rays, like you said, added Cruz, and are now they were able to kind of hop the Red Sox following the weekend, which we'll get to in a little bit. But again, kind of the big ones there. I think as far as like the most big names go, I know there's some all-stars that changed hands, but I guess Mike, I'll kind of let you run the gauntlet here for the other ones. I think those are kind of the big ones there. But before I do that, just kind of the Cubs. It's crazy to think like where they were, just 5 years ago, and obviously like a big city, big market, all that, and having this complete fire sale and pretty much starting over. But and again, we don't know how good the prospects are that went over there. I know you mentioned nothing crazy for Rizzo, but yeah, we'll see where the Cubs go from here. But then,
I can also
my piece. You can speak on that.
I'll also that because that's probably one of my favorite championships ever outside of the city of Boston, and of course I was on TikTok today, so like the highlights of that game came back up. So of course I watched it, and just think of even like the game itself with Baez having a home run early on in that game. Chris Bryant, he had some good base running in that game. Like he stole a couple runs on some sac flies to shallow early on in that game. That definitely put them over the edge, and of course the iconic Brizzo connection and that game on that squeaky grinder by Michael Martinez. So just the fact that it was just Rizzo came up right away. Javi was drafted in 2012, I think Brian in 13, and just they sucked forever, and they finally have this culmination to break the longest curse in sports history. So sad to see it go. I know they still have a couple of lingering pieces like Contreras, but yeah, that's off to them. But I think from what I heard across baseball is that you'd rather be a Cubs fan than a Colorado Rockies fan. Because with Trevor Story coming up, John Gray, I forget someone else. I forget the other name of the lineup. Like all like impending free agents, like names you could have got a pretty good haul for. Especially, it's like, well, if you're going to commit to this window of this talent and pay your guys, you shouldn't have traded Nolan Arenado and eating $50 million in that deal. So they're just so confusing right now.
Yeah, wait, what?
Yeah, like didn't trade Story that like after doing all that with Arenado in the offseason, like heck, I'm mad too because I took their under wins and they're kind of outperforming it. And I'm like, well, they maybe like I have hope. Like if they have their fire sale, like maybe they'll just like go like 5-20. Yeah. Maybe they'll go like 5-20 in the month of August. And now it's like, and they didn't do nothing. And then they go to San Diego and take 2 out of 3 from the Padres over the weekend. I'm like, what the frick are you guys doing? Like, you're not even gonna get a top 10 pick this year, and it's just, I don't know. So that's a very confusing move with the Rockies. So, and staying in the NL West, the Padres, they're 6.5 out of first place, 3 game behind the Dodgers right now. So they need to keep afloat right now in this division, especially with Tatis going the IL. They made a small move around the deadline, getting Daniel Hudson going back to the Nats World Series of 2019. He got the last out there. But the big move they did was really early on was getting Adam Frazier from the Pirates. I think only the third
Yeah.
time in MLB history the league leader in hits got traded, and like the first time since like the 90s and the 50s. So, yeah, that's kind of what wraps up my NL West. Do you have anything to add there?
The NL West, no, like you said, I think adding an all-star in Frazier was obviously, good move from the Padres. Like you said, struggling, and it was a good move. But I mean, like I think they made moves the last few years. So you almost wonder, like, well, how much more can they do? But I mean, I don't know. You saw the Dodgers adding Scherzer and Trey Turner, and then you see the Giants add Chris Bryant. It's like, are they going to have enough to run with those two teams, or are you best case going on the road for the wild card game to try to get in here?
Yeah, especially because like okay, like Bryant, like okay, an all star for us, an all star for you, and then the Dodgers just put their freaking nuts on the table. It's like, oh, you guys want to get all stars? Fine, we'll get
Yeah.
two. We'll get one. We'll get one.
Yeah, exactly.
Is a 3-time Cy Young winner. So yeah, that's definitely just the craziest, like the most talented division in baseball at the top there. I think probably the biggest name, one of the two biggest names get traded was Starling Marte to the A's, a deal that was kind of shocking. You don't really see from the A's, especially because he's a full time rental. Like he's gone at the end of the year, and like you would see it like back
Yeah.
in Leicester. I know they kind of fell off and had to fall into that wild card game, but like they're barely holding on to the second wild card spot. This is a rental, and Luzardo like just following Dallas Braden. He's been talking about this guy being like El Problema for years now, and I bought into the hype. I drafted him as the prospect in my AL only league, and he's having a tough year. He got a 680 array in the MLB, and he's been kind of struggling down in AAA. So maybe they're just giving up on the guy, but you still have like 5 more years of team control, which is like for a small market team like Oakland's very. Oh, you gotta wonder if this might come back to bite them if they do nothing this year, lose Marte. Let's say like Luzardo gets his crap together in the next couple of years. So I think this is kind of the best you can do if you're Miami, because yeah, like you want to get a bundle, but if you get someone with like this upside, even if it's just one person, go for it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then probably the second biggest name was Jose Barrios going to the Jays. I love this for them.
Right.
They did have to give up a lot. At least Simeon Wood Richardson, who's either starting the futures game or might even I think maybe on Team USA right now. He was like the 4th best prospect, and they also traded their second best too. So it was 2 and 4 to the Twins for this. So definitely was a steep price. So I wanted them to go to the Sox, but that probably would have been like a Cassis and maybe like and Jeter Downs going back for Barrios, which is something we probably wouldn't want to do.
Right.
And
Mr. Marty Barron.
Yeah, so like I mean, I gotta love what they're doing. I know I was listening to Starting Night today, and they're talking about like they kind of went full send a couple years ago, but like doing like Jose Reyes, like R.A. Dickey, all that like all at once, and they didn't have time to gel. But now they're letting this core come up through the minors of Bichette, Guerrero, Biggio, like Gurriel, Tasker Hernandez. But then it's like okay, like we'll sprinkle in a little George Springer, a little Marcus Semien. Then now we'll do a little like Ryu the year before. Now we're doing a little Jose Barrios, Brad Hand. So it's like, okay, like they're letting the core come up and just adding talent to like give them more to do around. So we gotta love what they're doing up in the 6th now that they're finally back.
Yeah, and then I think just hopping in here too. I think it was just gotta hop in here, give us a little bit more. Yeah, so I think that was a guy that I think a lot of people wanted. Like you said, the Sox end up with another guy, Kyle Gibson. I think it was rumored here at some point on Friday. And we were in the car coming over from the airport. I've seen stuff with Philly, and it ends up being Philly that comes home with the former Texas Ranger Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, and that one, the more I looked into it, I'm kind of happy we sat on because he's in his mid-30s, having a career year, and he hasn't really been the same since like mid-June. You know what happened in mid-June?
He's in his 30s.
I think so. Let me look it up.
I thought he was on the Cape with me. I could be wrong,
but 33.
Who am I thinking of? Another guy Gibson on the Cape. Anyway, continue, Mike. Sorry.
And I mean, he did have a good debut in Pittsburgh for them on Sunday, but the numbers seemed to really tick down once the sticky stuff got a little strict. So I don't know. The career year, not as good as the sticky stuff. I'm putting the tinfoil hat on there. So, and to go back, I think the most underrated team this trade deadline was Chicago, the White Sox. They were able to get Kimbrel to add to that back end with Kimbrel and Liam Hendricks. That is scary. They also got Ryan Tapera, also two separate deals from the Cubs for relievers, which is pretty funny across town. And he's having a pretty good year for them. So that bullpen's looking good. I think they just assessed even in the offseason with Hendricks what they need, especially with like coming off that insane like offensive standout last year with Tim Anderson and Jose Abreu going for like the MVP title at the same time, and Abreu eventually winning it. And now Robert's coming back. Eloy Jimenez has come back. So they're really coming together. They did give up Nicky Madrigal to back to the Cubs, but I think that's they'd pay that for this. So they've just kind of been lurking around in first place, just doing their thing. But hey, they're going to get pretty rested out in September when they clinch that division. So they're just lurking around. So I'm keeping my eye on them.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of team to keep the eye out for, the Milwaukee Brewers, sneaky, just getting an all-star from Arizona and Eduardo Escobar, adding a little pop to the lineup, and he's paid some dividends. He's already hit a couple home runs, so they've made some great moves this year, like getting Willie Adames from Tampa early in the year. Yeah, another piece that just sold to Tampa Bay. I don't know. I mean, granted, they had to make room for Wander Franco when they made that deal, but between Escobar, Adames, it's kind of been feeling nice with especially Keston Hiura being such a big disappointment and Yelich not being MVP type talent and now on the COVID list. So they're cruising right now 20 games, 500, and just shout out to them. And I think the last two deals we have here are sticking in the division. John Lester going to the Cardinals from the Nationals. Just again, if they need a couple more arms if they're going to make a playoff push. So buy Lester, see what happens, and then Braves with Ronnie Acuna going down with that torn ACL. Not sure if we got to that one, but yeah,
that post.
No, that happened when we were at Roxanne's. So
okay,
not sure where in the calendar that was.
Anyway,
but they've just been acquiring outfielders left and right, getting Jock Peterson,
all the outfielders,
Jock Peterson, Jorge Soler, and Adam Duvall reunion, and trading away Eddie Rosario. That deal included the Panda, who's actually having a breakout year, being their pinch hitter. So that NOS is getting tight. They're under 500, but only 2 games out. So yeah, one of the more memorable trade deadlines, especially when when you break up such a memorable team that always come down, but then just all these all-stars, top prospects getting moved. So
okay, so that kind of finally wraps up all that. And then as far as what's been going on in the league post all that, Sox did something in Tampa, again, aggravating situation there. They just seem like they're on a bit of a slide with that. Then they lost last night to Detroit. Just wrapped up, won the game tonight in Detroit 4-1. So yeah, again, a little frustrating there, but it's because again the Rays just seem to never go away. We talked about Jays and Yankees kind of making a push here, so a little bit of a tighter AL East on this front.
Yeah, so they were on a 5-game losing streak. I mean, Friday was pretty bad what Perez did, but between Eovaldi and Pivetta on Saturday and Sunday, they pitched pretty well. And even Richards, I think he was on the shorter outing last night, but he was very okay, like nothing crazy. So as much as you say pitching is a weakness, it's really been our offense lately. Like some guys were really out of whack. Thought I heard a story today that like Martinez was like 70 at bats between home runs. Thankfully, he got off the schneid tonight. Kike was hot, slowed down a little, hit a home run, and also Durant hit a home run tonight. So hopefully, and Erod, who had a 5.6 ERA entering the start, had a nice 10 strikeout night. So hopefully, this was like, okay, this is like, of course, you got to think like, oh, you see all these teams getting all-stars, and we technically got an all-star, but he's hurt right now. So it's like you don't feel the immediate impact that everyone else is having, like the Mario, like the star, like after, like I know we alluded to this, like the star when you acquire someone, like it runs out after a week. We haven't gone that yet. So you like to think like, oh crap, like is this team like doubting Kime, being like, you don't believe in us to trade someone, but hopefully it's not that. And it was just like a coincidental bad slip up. we got to take the series tomorrow in Detroit, and we got some good teams coming up. So I think it's more another series against Toronto. I feel like we've just been playing them every single time. We got Tampa again coming up soon. I think we just got to get through August, and like right at the end, it slows down a little. I think we got Texas, Minnesota, and Cleveland to like kind of wrap up through like that end of week of Labor Day. So get through this tough streak, beat the good teams, and hopefully around Labor Day we can have a couple game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays, because this wild card chase, it's not given, even if we fall out of division contention. Because like you said, Yankees are playing a lot better baseball. The Jays are playing pretty good baseball. The A's and Mariners won't die. So it's getting pretty tight. Especially I think the Yankees have when we have a hard schedule, the Yankees have a soft schedule coming up. Like we're colliding paths in 2 weeks, and I think we have a really hard schedule and they have a bad one. So that could be a big series then. So got to hold on for life here, Red Sox fans.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams in the mix right now for sure in the AL. We already talked about how kind of crazy the NL West is right now. The NL East obviously just seems like it's who knows what's going on over there with the no team really wants to separate themselves in the pack. The Mets have made some moves, but still only 4 games above 500 and only a game up on the Phillies, 2.5 up on the Braves. Milwaukee leads a pretty decent lead in the Central. Reds and Cards trying to make a push, and then obviously the competitiveness that's happening out west, but getting some more space between, kind of 3 games ish between the Giants, Dodgers, and Padres, on each side. So getting competitive out there as well. So yeah, again, we'll see what happens. That'll kind of be the main focus now. I think is we're getting more pieces falling into play for the NBA. The offseason never really dies in that league, but again, baseball will be kind of the main focus. I think as we shift into football season, which I think we'll wrap up with. We did want to quickly cover some Olympics. It's been hard to get into, I think personally, with the time zone difference. Like I feel like I'm missing everything. Obviously, I think there's usually a week, at least 08, 12, and 16. I think we've been on vacation at the time of the Olympics, and that hasn't really happened. That didn't happen this year. You're like a week-long vacation or whatever. So yeah, a little bit different on that front. Tougher to get into it. They're just completely around. It's not even like when they were in London, I think, or even Rio was perfect because it was like an hour ahead or something. It wasn't anything crazy. London was like 5 or 6. This one's completely flipped, so everything happens overnight essentially. So yeah, harder to get into. No Phelps, no Bolts, nothing like that, which is a little crazy. The names that again you saw for years, I think. So yeah, I mean, tough to kind of throw on every now and then. I have some like discus throwing on right now just as background noise here, but yeah, I guess the big things to get to basketball. Again, this might be again. I'm getting my timelines all confused, Mike. I think it was after when USA men did lose to France their opening game. There were some concerns going into that. Yeah, it must have been because it was after the finals. So yeah, but they bounced back for the most part. Winning all the games now. Now they have Australia. Australia in the semis tonight, and again, we'll see how that goes. Again, can't watch it. It's at like start to like 12:15 or something like that, 12:40. So I don't know. It seems like they're kind of getting their stride back after that loss to France, and hopefully they can just get the gold and get out of there.
Yes, that's kind of the way to put it. But they got some scary teams again. The Aussies they already lost to, France they already lost to, and the Slovenians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is Luka gonna do this? Is he just gonna win the gold? Is he just gonna just like mess around and win this whole thing? I think he's going to.
Yeah, I think he's
gonna make a push at least.
He's never lost in competitive play with Slovenia.
Sure, and he has 2 chances to get a medal, so not too bad. But yeah, again, they have the Aussies tonight. You said they lost them in Vegas right before the Olympics, so that's no easy one there. And then like you said, so then it'll be France and Slovenia on the other side there. And then the USA women taking on Serbia tonight in the road finals and the semifinals. That'll be the next game for them. As they also try to win the gold here as well.
3-on-3 women's were dominant too. 3-on-3 women's dominant.
3-on-3 women, the new 3-on-3 tournament. I know what I didn't have in here. How about these like 12, 13-year-olds winning like gold medals in skateboarding? That's kind of
Yeah, that's
nuts
where
as well.
skateboarding was cool to
Um,
watch because I feel like it was either really early or really late. So like it matched up with when I was watching that weekend, and it was like really early on. So 2 weekends ago.
see, that's good. I didn't really get it because that's something I would definitely want to watch.
Yeah, it was like a Saturday night
But
at like 11 o'clock, and it was just like Najee Houston was on TV live. I was like, okay, cool.
yeah, that's good.
And then
Um,
just a couple before we shift to the other team sports. I did notice Caleb Dressel, shout out 5 medals. The Ledecky Titmus rivalry was really cool, especially with the Titmus coach going crazy in that one thing. And then shout out Shikari, already 2 gold medals, baby girl of the week.
I didn't think she was going.
No, no, Shikari. But I messed up. She's from Kentucky. She's won 2 gold medals. I know they both said
Okay.
one
Oh,
set a
for
world,
the store. Okay.
one set a world record, and the woman who came in second for also USA would have broken the Olympic record if it wasn't for that person.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'll look up the
All
names.
right. And then what else? Yeah. But also that 17-year-old, I'm looking at her name. She won the swimming from Alaska, right? One of the events.
Yep.
One of the gold.
Yeah, I actually watched that one live. That was cool.
Yeah. So that obviously went down. I guess while we're on some individual stuff, the whole Simone situation, really just tough to read. All I know is that she was dominant before this. Obviously had the reasons that she got into for why she came here. The twisties sound awful.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they call it, like if you're just up in the air and you have no idea where you're going to land, and then obviously still landing coming away with a bronze on the bars after going through all that. So still an all-time Olympian on that front. Suni Lee winning the Golden One event as well. So USA Gymnastics still holding down the fort with after the past 2 times around with Allie Raceman and the other girls in the squad. So shout out to them. As far as some more USA team sports, USA baseball doing pretty well. I know, Mike, you said we get the combination of a few old heads that aren't quite in the league anymore and some young minor league guys. So kind of fun to see that. I saw I think an interview with Andrew Jackson the other day. Tristan Cassis has been hitting some homers from the Red Sox system.
He's been on a tear out there.
The semis playing South Korea in their next matchup.
Okay, so Japan won. So we beat the Dominican. So I believe we're medaling then. So we play South Korea. Okay. Winner of that plays Japan, and then I think we got to beat Japan twice. Because they
I noticed that. I thought I saw it's like a weird double elimination tournament or something.
Yeah, I kind of like it because that was a good. It was like kind of like all right when we got off the plane. I was kind of tracking the Twitter. It seemed like USA was up, and then Japan literally just small balls us to death. Like it was a single, a bunt, or like a double, and like 2 productive ground outs to tie the game, and then just like something like nice like bunting over in the 10th after a double to like win it all. So yeah, that'll be good. I really hope USA can pull it out. My boy Cassis. And then also switch over the names. It was Sydney McLaughlin and Dahlia Muhammad were the 2 sprinters that
okay.
of the record. Trying to
and then I think
you go.
Yeah, no, and I was gonna say I think some of the most one of the most shocking news that kind of came of the Olympics here in the team sports realm is that the USA women's soccer team lost to Canada in the was it the semifinals or was it the finals? I can't remember.
Semifinals.
Yeah, so because we watched the quarters at the airport. Actually, we saw the shootout happen there. That was kind of awesome to see them win that one, but obviously losing to Canada in the semis there. So crazy just after such a tear of dominance. Going from I think all the way back to 2012 because I remember they lost the 2011 World Cup and then that kind of I think set off this 2012 Olympics, 2015 World Cup, 2016 Olympics, 2019 World Cup. It just kind of like that dynasty went off. So kind of nuts to see them lose in international play here, but that's obviously what broke down on that front. Any Olympics notes there, Mike? Or again, I know there's a lot going on, but it's just
I forget who actually won, but for USA, shout out Shuffle for coming through and medaling for America.
Was it Sabatini that won?
I said medal. I forgot who won.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. No, you said you forgot, and I was just saying.
I'll trust you. I trust you.
Wait, no, Shoffley. I thought. Wait, I thought Morikawa middle. I thought Shoffley fell apart.
Or yeah, there's a picture of someone. Xander
It's
is
been a
winning.
lot. I think. Yeah.
Oh
Stat check here.
yeah.
Again, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I looked at them the other day when we were talking about it.
Oh, never mind. Morikawa lost the bronze medal playoff. I don't know. I thought I saw him. I saw him with a picture of the medal.
Wait, so Shoffley did win? I'm so confused now. I was some stupid ESPN thing the other day, and oh my
Yeah, I
god.
was like, I thought it was that picture. Yeah, Sabatini came in.
I swear, Mike, I don't know what list I was looking at. That's my bad.
Yeah, I remember hearing Blake. I'm like, oh, that's shocking.
I
Like,
blame ESPN. I blame ESPN.
you're like, oh, I didn't even see him. I'm like, well, he was winning after the day. He must have really collapsed. But yeah, Schauffele won, Sabatini second, and Morikawa did have a good day. He did tie CT Pan from the Chinese Taipei.
Well,
and just lost the bronze medal playoff. So a nice fourth for Morikawa.
yeah.
They're good showing.
My
Good
bad
showing.
on that, Mike. I swear, whatever I was reading.
Good showing for USA minus
Whatever I was reading. Yeah.
Minus Bryson getting the COVID.
Yeah. Oh god. Well, we're not even into well, again, my bad. I don't know what the hell I was reading the other day, but it looked like it seems like Sabatini won, and then I don't know, whatever. Yeah, and I think the only thing we have football around the corner. We have the Hall of Fame games tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, let me take a pander. That was like
I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow because they were talking about how it's. Yeah, that's what I said. The Hall of Fame game. Yeah, Cowboys Steelers. So yeah, Rodgers had his whole theatrics last week that I think we were all expecting. Made this whole spectacle about retiring, not retiring, whatever. He shows up and then obviously steals a job from our guy Blake Bortles. So thanks, Aaron, for ruining that that part there. But he is in fact back. We'll see again. I think just a lot of nothing too major coming out of camp right now. Obviously, have our eye on the Patriots and the whole quarterback situation there. But yeah, again, preseason starting for the NFL. Again, Hall of Fame game tomorrow night. Seeing Peyton Manning and Calvin Johnson, amongst others, to get in this weekend. And then on the college front, Mike, the conferences seem to be dying, especially the Big 12 at least. We will be going down to, if we get down to 4, I still don't like it, but I'll take it. If we get like an ACC, SEC, Big 10, Pac-12 type deal, I'll settle for that. But again, I just want to get the point of these conferences that they're going to have like 30 teams in them. Not even a conference.
Yeah, I just RIP. That's like I don't know how to put it. Just like I'm gonna miss them. Unless it turns into like a huge big like I'm only okay if it turns like a huge like 8 to 12 team playoff and it's like okay we're just gonna get rid of like thing like you know what I mean,
like the 4 winners and or just like they just blow the whole thing up. I don't even know.
Like
but,
you could
obviously this
if you win you automatically qualify for the playoff and then maybe if it's 8 maybe it's top 2.
8 wild cards.
Yeah.
I
mean,
obviously stemming from Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC.
Yeah, the only upside of that could be like maybe some more like
this stupid delay is killing me.
The only upside for more is that could be like some fun games. Like I know LSU is like opening up at UCLA this year. So if there's gonna be like more like if they say like week 1's nothing but cross conference, so like let's say you get like a Clemson, Ohio State week 1 because it's just like it's like less work because it's only going across like week 1 y'all it's like the Big 12 SEC challenge or like literally Big 10 SEC if they're just like the only 2 things. If like the Big 12 is just going to fall apart because they're going to have 8 teams.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, again, so some realignment there. We'll have our eye on that one. Again, we just have a lot to recap on this one. So again, we have football coming up. So we'll have our eye on that front. We'll be probably pretty baseball centric on our show next Wednesday. Again, Mike headed to the Big Apple this weekend, or maybe straight to Long Island. Not sure if you're actually going to the city. So
there's a Long Island, and I'll dip in the city during the day. Maybe spend one night, but Yeah. Well, I think it's usually
Yeah.
after the excitement of usually it goes draft, NBA free agency, then trade deadline, but it kind of all happened in a 2 week span. Now we're gonna be like, now we're just gonna now we're just entering the dog days of August where nothing's going on. So
Yeah. So again, we do have some stuff coming up. I know you'll be in Long Island this weekend. I'll be in Long Island 2 weekends from then. So maybe we'll be pretty weekly, I guess. Maybe we'll have some weekend ones mixed in there. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on everything there. Like you said, we'll see if any more chips fall in the NBA. Have our eye on MLB, and as we get ready for both NFL and college football coming up. And yeah, I guess that pretty much wraps up the gauntlet that we went through between both leagues, and we'll kind of. Man, I'm exhausted going through all that. There's a lot of movement that happened in both those leagues, and yeah, so I guess that does it for today, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
see you guys later.